Hello, folks. It's Zyther for KQ's World Mockington, and I'm here to welcome you yet again to Gabriel Night 2. Tonight, we're going to be doing some castle touring, I suppose. We have a lot of museums to go to. We've got, just so many museums. It's gonna be really just a time. I'm gonna be clicking on stuff. You're gonna be listening to Grace talk, and then I'll be clicking on more stuff. That's pretty much how it's gonna go. Aside from that, it's a decent night. I'm a little tired, but, you know, I could be doing worse. I'm just a bit... I guess I'm a little run down, but just tiredness. Sometimes you just really want to get some sleep. And, the sleep is just not... I've been sleeping during the night instead of during the daytime, which is when I usually sleep. So I'm tireder than usual here in the nighttime. That makes no sense. You would think. But then, you know, you'd be wrong. Oh well. In interesting, cool news, I now have a 4 terabyte drive. The 4 terabyte drive is roughly the size of like a stick of baseball card gum, which is terrifying because I could easily put this thing in my mouth and chew. I could do it right now. It's over there. It's taunting me. Anyway, I'll be able to mirror like the entire Exo-DOS archive or whatever, and therefore you will see a lot more cool DOS games showing up. They don't taste good. That's what people said about Switch games. Hello, Silverstar. That's what people said about Switch games, and people still put those in their mouths. You know, I never got around to doing that. Maybe I should... No, not right now. Later. I'll eat Zelda later. It's fine. I will eat, like, my entire Switch collection. One big gulp. It'll be great. As I was saying, you can expect a lot more retro-style games once I come up with a pre-configured DOS box configuration for most of those, which will be great. And then there's, you know, Windows 3.1 stuff that... It'll be great. It'll be great. Hello, YouTube, by the way. I'm not discussing anything illegal. You're discussing illegal things. Get the fuck off my computer with your ad blocking bullshit, YouTube. Anyway. Like I was saying, we've got plenty of, interesting stuff tonight. We've got so many museums to tour. So many castles to look at. It's wonderful. Hello to there, Ann. I missed... Did you ever win with Stealth C? I had to leave before you got around to steering that rocket-equipped tin can into anything useful. Good job on the FTL victory, though. Yes, Eagles, Cousins, Wagner. It's like a trip to Georgia. I was just saying, there will probably be more weird, obscure games once I have more storage for them. But, you know, it's just gonna be at the whim of whatever insane fate happens. Because I have no ability to plan for the future whatsoever. You have 10 seconds to fling yourself through time and space. Get popcorn. Come back here. And watch me play Gabriel Knight. Oh, hello, Keldon. Glad you decided to browse Twitch TV. Aw, am I not sending out notifications again? I try to send out notifications. Yeah, Silver Star, we asked about you the other day. I meant to mention. I forgot. Anyway, the beast within. Let's get back on it. By which I mean, please start, Scum VM. Yeah, it has been a time, and I hope things do improve. I haven't been saying much because of the struggles. When last we left, Grace Nakamura, researcher extraordinaire. She was exploring the many castles of King Ludwig II. Therefore, let's get back on that. Last time, we explored this wing, we read the diary, we looked at his cool cloak.
Looks like it weighs a ton.
Thanks, Grace. This time, we're headed that way. Alright. Ooh, painting.
Oh my god. That's the sleigh from my dream.
Well, that's a bombshell to drop from the start. This is the sleigh from your dream, Grace. I don't think it is, actually. The sleigh in your dream looked a lot more covered.
Maybe Mrs. Smith will know what my dream meant. I have to ask someone. This thing is getting too weird.
Alright, we have a new objective. Ask the Smiths about Grace's dream.
Ludwig embarking on his sleigh.
And the plaque?
The midnight sleigh rides. Ludwig went on long sleigh rides in the middle of the night, particularly in his later years. It is said that he suffered from insomnia, headaches, and toothaches, and the rides soothed his restlessness. The sight of the king's grand sleigh speeding through the countryside of the Alps often startled the peasants and became a superstitious omen of ill fortune. I can see why. But what was he doing out there at night?
What indeed? What gives you insomnia, headaches, and toothaches? My god, Ludwig was eating cake. Doesn't he know that the royals eating cake is a bad sign? Honestly, if I saw this go by, I would not think this is an omen of bad fortune. I would think, holy shit, Santa Claus. I think maybe that's just me, though. Alright, what do we have in here? Grace does not read German, still. Oh, good.
December 14th, 1881, Linderhof. Order another work by Jennings on the occult. Write urgently to Klug, saying that I insist that the stoppages by the bank cease. I want it, and therefore it must be done. Write very urgently. He must succeed at once, and then must report to me urgently. If I give orders to clear my room, doing so must not be postponed as it happened. Pencils must be pointed without special orders. The day after tomorrow, 1,000 marks. How is Louis now? I want to know whether he looks unhappy. How often have I said that the coffee must not come up boiling hot, so that it can only be drunk after standing an hour? If any more correspondence come from Louis, they are to be burnt immediately, but I am to be informed of their arrival.
Okay, there's a lot to unpack there. This is definitely the work of someone who is extremely distracted by something. Like, all my pencils have to be pointed. I want this done. Write to Klug. I don't know who Klug is either. Order a work by Jennings. How is Louis? If Louis writes me, burn it. But I want to know about it. And you can look at this handwriting, and you know that this is the product of a fractured mind.
These are actual notes from Ludwig to his servants. They go far in showing the king's state of mind. They were smuggled out and used as evidence in compiling the order for Ludwig's arrest.
Ooh, okay. Yes, I am your fluffy puff squirrel mallow, I suppose you could say. That is how I am. Let's see, what is this?
December 18th, 1881, Linderhof. Every day get up earlier for certain. See to that very particularly. Write it down. Remember that when the great friend arrives at Neuschwanstein, we retire to the hall. We are not to be disturbed. I will not tolerate interference or insubordination.
Well, all right. Every day, get up earlier. Write that down. No. I'm staying in bed, Ludwig. Alright, what's over here? How much of this game is voice acted? All of it. This is a FMV game with a lot of voice acting. Once we get out of the museum, you'll see more of it. But unfortunately, tonight is exposition night. We're doing museum tours, we're doing castle tours. What the hell is this?
Ludwig's death mask. Wow.
Okay. I did not need to look at that. Thank you. And let's see.
I have no idea what that says. Looks old, though.
Bless you, Grace. Looks like the last panel over here are the last days of Ludwig. Let's see what they have to say.
June 7th, 1886. A group of men arrive at Neuschwanstein Castle demanding to take the king in custody. With them is Dr. Guden, the doctor who had been in charge of Otto, the king's mentally ill brother. The men have an order for the king's arrest on the grounds of insanity. They are refused admittance by a brave group of farmers and local soldiers who have come to Ludwig's aid.
Wow.
They are forced to retreat to nearby Hohenschwangau.
Who would
This is the
protect the
first
king
Ludwig hears of the conspiracy.
in this day and age?
Ludwig composes a pamphlet explaining the subversive acts of the conspirators and eloquently pleading with his people for aid. The pamphlet is smuggled out of Neuschwanstein and printed, but the pamphlets are seized before they can be distributed.
Like, nowadays, if somebody was like, yeah, the king is mentally ill, we're here to throw him in jail, how many people would, like, show up and form a militia to protect them? That's kind of a weird idea to me. Has a pleasant aesthetic, simple with subtly colored light. Yeah, it does. It's a nice, it's very neutral, I guess is what I can say. Oh, no, not that one. Alright, panel 2.
June 12, 1886. Ludwig knows the conspirators will return. He despairs. He asks his servant for the keys to the tower. The servant, fearing the king intends suicide, says the key is lost. Unbeknownst to Ludwig, the conspirators arrive at the castle. This time, there is no one to stop them. Ludwig is lured from his bedroom to the entry hall of Neuschwanstein on pretense. There, he is taken into custody. Ludwig is taken by carriage from Neuschwanstein to Berg, where his brother Otto had long been imprisoned. This is a great blow to the king's state of mind. While on the way, the group stops at Seeshaupt to change horses. Ludwig asks to see the postmistress, Frau Vogel. She brings him a glass of water and he says something to her. She never reveals these last words to anyone.
Now, a lot of this I haven't been able to verify, but I have been able to verify this as, like, actual historic fact. King Ludwig's last words were spoken to a postmistress, and she refused to tell anyone what they were. People have been curious about that for decades, obviously.
June 13th, 1886. At Berg, Ludwig seems cooperative and coherent. Dr. Guden writes to the government that he has Ludwig well under control. The two men go out for a walk, and Dr. Guden is so confident he dismisses the guards. When Ludwig and the doctor do not return after several hours, a search is undertaken. The bodies of the two men are found in the lake, drowned. Circumstances unknown.
Ludwig even dies in a mysterious way.
June 18th, 1886. Ludwig's funeral procession marches through the streets of Munich, followed by enormous crowds of mourners. The service is held at a packed St. Michael's church. Lightning strikes the church during the service, but no one is harmed. Ludwig's body is entombed in the Wittelsbach crypt at St. Michael's. His heart is placed in an urn in the pilgrimage chapel at Altading in the Wittelsbach tradition. The urn is shown to the right. His heart is in an urn. How bizarre.
How bizarre. But yeah, lightning strikes the church during the service. That's the kind of stuff that you look into on the historical record. And you're like, oh man, I gotta put this in the story somewhere. How bizarre. How bizarre. Alright, can we get any more information out of... what's her name?
Guten Tag.
Guten Tag.
Is there any way to see more of Ludwig's diary? We do want to see that.
Ludwig's Tagebuch im Museum?
Ja,
Wo kann ich Ludwigs Tagebuch hier anschauen?
die Tagebücher sind ganz persönlich. Die sind in den königlichen Archiven. Niemand darf die lesen.
Aber
Nein, niemand darf die lesen.
danke.
I still don't speak German, but I'm pretty sure that was like, can I see Ludwig's diary? No, it's in the National Archives. Oh, are you sure I can't? No, you fucking can't! Alright, let's try, But yeah, that was all in German. Grace speaks a little bit of German.
Guten Tag.
Guten Tag.
Alright, let's try the other one. You know anything about this new Wagner opera?
Im Museum es einen Brief von Ludwig über eine neue Wagner-Oper.
Ja, ja, ich kenne diesen Brief.
Yeah, it's in the brief.
Wo kann ich mehr von dieser Wagner-Oper sehen?
Ja, ich weiß nichts über Wagner. Das hier ist kein Wagner-Museum.
Ja, ich weiß.
In Bayreuth befindet sich ein Wagner-Museum. Versuchen Sie es halt doch, ne?
Bayreuth. Danke.
Alright, okay, I got that much. It's like, where can I learn about this new Wagner opera? Well, this isn't the fucking Wagner Museum. The Wagner Museum's in Bayreuth. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, maybe we should derail off to the Wagner Museum, then. Which presumably, yep, that's what this is. Alright, let's check out the Wagner Museum. I'm always down to go to a new museum.
Grüß Gott.
Guten Tag. Ist das die Wagner Museum?
Ja, you're an American, aren't you? I'm afraid the house is closed this time of year. It will be open next month.
Crap.
You are interested in Wagner?
Very interested. Very recently very interested.
Yeah. Most of the house is closed for cleaning, but a few rooms are open. I shouldn't let you probably, but if it is only you, you are alone, aren't you?
Endlessly.
Come in and look over.
That's very generous. What do I owe you?
Georg Immerding. It's only a few displays. Besides, I wouldn't be much of a shining knight if I charged you.
Thanks, Georg. My name is Grace.
Hello. Have a good time.
Ah, yes, he's white knighting for us. Great. Can we, dunk him in the river? Right, the Wagner Museum. This is the most CGI-looking museum I've seen. I'm gonna nudge the volume on the music down just a little bit. This is the most CGI-looking museum I've been in a long time. So let's start checking the place out.
Wagner's piano. On this piano, the maestro composed his later operas, including The Ring.
Alright. Yeah, little known fact, Wagner wrote The Ring. With the creepy Japanese ghost girl. Yeah, that was him. Amazing, isn't it? Way back in the 1600s. Or whenever Wagner was alive. I don't remember.
Franz Liszt, composer and Cosima Wagner's father.
Well, I hope he's Cosima here.
Richard Wagner.
Wow, you got kind of a fucking aura about you, don't you, man? Alright, let's go in a little deeper. We've got a sofa.
The death of Wagner. On Ash Wednesday, 1883, Wagner suffered a heart attack in a Venetian gondola on the way to Saint Michel. His wife and the gondolier carried him into a church where he regained consciousness. Wagner died 4 days later on this sofa.
Oh,
Wagner died on that sofa. That's kind of creepy.
it's just furniture, Grace.
Wagner's desk, exactly as it was on the day he died.
And that is a very shiny desk.
It looks rather simple considering the grandiose stuff Wagner composed here.
Oh, can we see any of this?
It's a letter from a Monsieur Beaujolais, dated September 1881. Looks like he's discussing acoustics and sound waves, and crystals. Wasn't Wagner's Bayreuth Theater already built? Why would Wagner be worrying about acoustics?
Yes, and crystals. Was Wagner also composing the great opera of Final Fantasy VII?
It looks like an architectural drawing of a theater. The Wittelsbacher Theater, München. Every square inch is measured.
Yeah, acoustics works like that. Let's see, here's...
Wagner's death mask.
Great, thanks! Why do they keep showing me faces? Oh, hey, Ludwig.
The great patron himself.
Yep, that's a Ludwig, alright. I would know it anywhere. That's a mirror.
Ludwig as the classical Greek hero.
Ludwig, absolutely loves himself.
A portrait given as a gift from Ludwig to Wagner.
Anything... Nothing in the portrait? Well, we've got some letters.
June 10th, 1881, Munich residence. Great friend. I am writing to you in the middle of the night. My blood is pounding too wildly for sleep. Tonight's performance, how can I describe it? I am unsure whether to be terrified or thrilled. Perhaps I even feel hopeful. If it is hope, you have given it to me, my friend, for the first time in years. We must speak. Something happened during the music tonight, but I must have your absolute confidence. As you love me, come at once. Your devoted king, Ludwig.
I've definitely woken up in the middle of the night feeling like this before.
July 1882. Great and beloved king, Monsieur Beaujolais and I have finished the diagram. We checked the figures many times and Monsieur is confident that it will work. 8 identical fixtures are to be made from the diagram and placed in the theater exactly as specified. I'm sending the diagram with your courier. Be full of hope and have courage. All will be well. Your own, Wagner.
Alright, interesting. So that diagram... Yeah, there's Ludwig's death mask. So that diagram definitely has something to do with the case.
It looks like an every square inch is measured.
But Grace has no comment on it, so... Totenmask. Yeah, Totenmask. You tote the mask.
This must be a model of Wagner's own theater, here in Bayreuth.
What is this? A theater for ants? Popping in to behold the glory of Ludwig and Wagner. Yes, indeed. Look at this glorious... What is this?
Opera costumes.
Look at this glorious opera costumes. Oh boy, what are these?
These look like production designs. They look like
concept art, which I guess means production design in German. Nothing else here? Alright. I've been this way. And we're back around to the start. Okay. Let's check the countertop.
Wagner souvenirs. Don't think I need any of those.
What's that book in the case?
Cosima Wagner's journal. It's locked up for preservation.
Huh.
Huh. Alright.
Wagner souvenir.
Don't need any souvenirs. Alright, let's chat it up with, Mr. White Shining Knight Ear.
What are you doing here if the museum is closed?
They always like to have a caretaker here. It's a good job for me. I can soak in the atmosphere of the maestro while I compose.
What are you composing?
This, oh, a new arrangement. One of Wagner's pieces.
For the Bayreuth Opera?
No. I am only a student at the university. I study music, composition, conducting.
That is the second die for me redeemed for this game. And, admittedly, while I cannot die in a museum, I can make you all die spiritually. That is true. That's what I'm doing right now, talking to this man. And, as I've mentioned, there are ways to die in this game, and I will show off pretty much every one of them. I'm looking forward to it, honestly. FMV death sequences. Get hype, y'all.
Is there much of a call for conductors in Europe?
Ask my brother. He is the conductor for the Munich Opera.
Well, that's convenient. Does that mean you get free opera tickets?
Yes. I get a week's pass to the Opernfestspiele, the opera festival in Munich. It starts in a few months.
Hope I'm still around to see it.
Come with me if you like. If you're still around, I can go backstage and all sorts of things.
I'd love that. If I'm still in Germany, I'll call you, all right?
Yeah, good.
Grace just immediately jumping on that for opera purposes. And I 100% believe that Grace is going to use him for the opera and then drop him. Alright, let's talk about Wagner, if we must.
Tell me about Wagner.
He was a character. He spent most of his life trying to convince rich patrons to subsidize his work.
Yo, mood.
Unfortunately, he had expensive tastes. You see, he believed that someone of his genius deserved to live well.
Again, mood.
Can't argue with that.
But Ludwig II supported him, didn't he?
Yeah, sure, but Ludwig came along very late in Wagner's life. By then, he had already been run out of Venice and most major cities because of debt. Ludwig saved him. And the music. Best thing Ludwig ever did.
Well, dang, man.
Do you know anything about that letter from Wagner to Ludwig in the display case? The one about the diagram?
Ah, no. Some sort of equipment for Ludwig's theater. But I don't know why Wagner would have cared about this. If he was worried about any theater, you would think it would have been his own theater, here, in Bayreuth.
And the conductor letter.
Have you ever heard about the letter that Ludwig wrote to the Munich conductor in 1882 telling him to prepare for a new Wagner opera?
You're full of surprises for an American.
What do you know about it?
No one knows anything about it. It's like a treasure map, you know? It's probably a complete fairy tale, but it does make you wonder.
You have a very noisy
You have
mouth.
no idea what it could have referred to? Maybe something that Wagner was working on with Ludwig?
If there was, there's no trace of it. Except perhaps in the dreams of unemployed music students.
Yeah, what are unemployed music students for, though? Alright, let's get at... Okay, I figured out how to leave. Now, you'll notice that we've exhausted, Harishizme completely. But there's still stuff to do at the Wagner Museum, there's still stuff to do at Rittersberg, and there's still stuff to do at Neuschwanstein. Let's go back and talk to the Smiths about Grace's really weird dream. Because I could always use more time with the Smiths. He sells you on being an unemployed music student. You know, I don't know anything about that guy's career, but he sells me on being an unemployed music student. Alright, let's go hang out with the Smiths for a minute. Oh, they're not here? Uber?
Herr Huber?
Yes?
Yes? The Smiths being extras on a B-52 music... Yeah, they're fantastic. They're like... They're so 1950s, early 1960s.
Are the Smiths in their room?
Ja, I believe so.
Could you ask them to come down, please?
Ah, ja, natürlich.
Fade out, fade in. Okay.
Now you just tell Merle what's going on.
Alright, let's tell her about our weird-ass dreams.
I had a dream last night. I didn't remember it at first, but I saw something today at one of the museums.
What was the dream?
I was being chased in the woods by wolves. And I saw a sleigh. Ludwig was inside. He pulled me up, and I thought I was safe. But then he turned into a wolf.
So what do you think, Mother?
A dream of rescue is a spiritual guide dream. The High Priestess in Gabriel's cards must be linked to Ludwig somehow.
That's a logical
What do the wolves
conclusion to
represent?
reach.
I'm a psychic, dear, not Freud. But the warning I got was about the black wolf, wasn't it? And the wolves in the dream. It must be the same danger.
It's so frustrating. The more I find out, the more questions I have.
Why don't you try a little communicating of your own? Ludwig's the link. Appeal to him. The answers may not come right away, but at least you'll give the guide something specific to say the next time she contacts you.
Isn't there any way that you could, you know, do a psychic reading on Ludwig or something?
To tell you the truth, I've been trying all day to make contact, but I only feel great despair. Ludwig's soul is not at peace.
Oh, that's concerning. Also, yeah, I love that. What do the wolves represent? Well, they represent
go.
wolves.
Anytime you need us, stop by.
And be careful now.
Thanks.
I think the wolves represent wolves. Perception and vibes, it's true. If you're able to perceive the vibes, you're probably cool. Alright, there's those flowers. They haven't bloomed yet. Alright. You know what? Let's get back out on the road. Ludwig Museum ticket. Anything on here?
A ticket to the Ludwig Museum.
No, there is nothing on there. Alright, folks, it's time to tour Neuschwan. This is maybe the most time-consuming part of the game. We are going to be listening to the tour tape a lot. Grace is going to be reading stuff. I'm going to be reading stuff. Neuschwan is a big, complicated mess of a castle. And I've been kind of putting it off. But let's go through it. Neuschwan! Alright, what's this?
These scenes seem to tell a story, but I have no idea what story.
The paintings in this room are from the Siegfried saga.
Oh, okay, it's the Siegfried saga, Grace, obviously.
The paintings in this room are from the Siegfried Saga.
That's all the tape has. Cool.
These scenes are from the Siegfried Saga.
Grace, you know so much, Grace. I don't know the Siegfried Saga, so I don't know. I don't know why he's wearing a hat with a swan with a bird on it. That is maybe the first thing I'd like to know. Like, that is a fucking hat, man. That is... And if you turn that hat upside down, you can drink out of it. What's this? Itty bitty door.
I wonder where that door leads. I wonder...
Can't use it.
The closed door leads
Oh.
to the tower, which is not part of the tour. The king was making his way to this very door when he was arrested in 1886.
Ooh.
I wonder if Ludwig really meant to throw himself from the tower the night he was arrested.
Maybe not. Maybe he had something hidden up there.
I don't think the guards want to be bothered while on duty.
No, it's cool. You can poke them and they can't do anything about it. I saw it on TV. Alright, what's over here?
Did they have running water in 1886?
The richly carved bed, with its canopy, resembles a Gothic building and its turrets. The bed's draperies were handmade by dozens of Bavarian seamstresses.
Lovely. That doesn't tell me about the running water, though.
Maybe Ludwig thought all this luxury would help him sleep.
And the bed can be a boat, too.
You are now standing in the king's bedroom. The theme of the bedroom is Tristan and Isolde, the tragic love story retold in Wagner's opera. The opera was given its first performance in Munich in 1865, and a 20-year-old Ludwig attended. This is probably the most elaborate and expensive bedroom ever created. It took 14 wood carvers 4.5 years to create this room. It was this kind of extravagance that bankrupted the king. In the years before his death, he found it increasingly difficult to find money from any source.
Imagine going bankrupt because you just had to have the coolest bedroom on the block in your fucking castle. Couldn't be me. So...
Scenes from the opera Tristan and Isolde.
Yep, okay. I've never seen this particular opera. Involves a lot of brooding, apparently. What's over here? This is just another view of the room. What the hell is this?
In the corner is a brown tiled stove with clay figures of Tristan and Isolde.
Oh, clay too, okay.
It's a beautiful crucifix. Ivory and gold.
To partially answer my question, there was never any indication that the Tarnum, Siegfried's helmet, had a swan head on it. But it did allow the wearer the powers of shape-changing and fast travel. Oh, cool. It was a nice magic artifact. You could enchant that for a couple $100.
That's an unusual depiction of the Madonna.
She's dressed like a chess piece.
The stained glass window depicts St. Louis receiving the last sacraments.
Okay.
This is Ludwig's private chapel. The king was a devout Catholic, as were all of the Wittelsbacher rulers. They supported the Roman Church even when other European countries were dominated by Protestantism.
The stage direction in Das Rheingold and Siegfried describes it as a golden chainmail helmet which covers the wearer's face. Can you imagine wearing a chainmail helmet directly on your hair? That sounds like it would fucking hurt.
This is the king's living room. The walls are decorated with scenes from the Lohengrin saga. The king first saw Wagner's opera Lohengrin when he was 16, and it so affected him that he considered it a form of enlightenment. The tragedy of Lohengrin was his essential loneliness. This too was Ludwig's own fate. Ludwig withdrew more and more into his fantasy world of epic heroes and absolute monarchy. An ideal he was determined to create in his castles if he could not have it in his real life. He only wanted to be alone with his dreams, so much so that even his servants were kept at a distance and were not allowed to look at him.
What were you afraid they'd see?
I get it, Ludwig, though. I get Ludwig. He just wanted to be left alone. He just wanted to, enjoy fantasy escapism. And he just wanted to not be perceived at all. And God, I get it, man.
These linens look seriously expensive and seriously old.
Yes. Correct, Grace.
The miracle of the Grail.
Yep, that's the miracle of the Grail, alright. Not adding anything to the list, you're always there for the Ring of the Nibelung. And that makes you consider playing Valkyrie Profile. Is it engraved upon your soul? Ma'am, please stop changing the guard while I'm trying to walk places.
More swans.
The swan motif is featured throughout the castle, but it is particularly prominent in this room. Both the swan and the lily were symbols Ludwig associated with himself. They represented his ideals of majesty and purity. The painting behind the swan shows Lohengrin's arrival.
Ah, Ludwig associated himself with the lily. Ludwig with Yuri.
More swans.
Alright, what's back here? Wow.
This is a reproduction of the grotto from the Tannhäuser saga. In such places, Ludwig could pretend he was one of his beloved mythic heroes. As the grotto personifies, the castles were solitary playgrounds built for Ludwig alone. He believed the masses were too coarse to appreciate fine art, and he seldom entertained guests. In fact, Ludwig had a standing order that upon his death, the castles were to be destroyed. Fortunately, the estate was in such debt that the castles were opened for paying tours only weeks after Ludwig's death. They haven't closed since. It is one of the great ironies of Ludwig's story that the castles that he was thought insane for building are now considered Bavaria's finest treasures. They have paid for their construction many times over.
Ludwig was gay for Wagner. Ludwig was gay for Louis, or Louis, the boy he hung out with. And apparently Ludwig was also gay for his female cousin. I don't know how that works, but it's true.
I can almost picture Ludwig in here. I wonder what he really dreamt about in this room.
The museums. No, that was a specific famous track. I know what you're talking about, though.
Pretty nice place to work.
Oh, yeah, lovely. Very businesslike.
This is the king's study. Ludwig spent much time at his desk, writing letters, drawing up plans for his projects, and studying his favorite authors. He loved poetry, history, and the classics. In later years, he also studied the occult. What affairs of state he did reluctantly attend to were generally attended to alone at his desk in writing. His reluctance to meet with his heads of state and perform the duties of the king were one of the reasons for the charges brought against him in 1886. But Ludwig dreamt of true kingship and a true monarchy, and the small powers left to him after Bavaria's succeeded power to Prussia only incited his disdain and frustration.
Picture that exhibition. Also, man, it is really coming home that this was the late 1800s. I'm used to thinking of, deranged kings as being like 15th century, 16th century, 17th century. No, this was comparatively very close to today. Like, King Ludwig was almost made it to the previous century, which I was about to say was this century, because I am fucking old as hell, man. Your Aunt Zizzy's an antique. She belongs in a museum. I'm just saying. Wait. What's this?
I doubt there's anything left in there now. Besides, the guard would kill me if I touched it.
Yeah, that's true.
The study paintings depict scenes from the Tannhäuser Saga in the Wartburg Castle.
Also, like... castles built as private playgrounds for the rich. That's not something I think of nowadays at all. Like, I think people would riot. Not today. It's the economy.
This is the final room of our tour, the Singers' Hall. It was modeled after the Singers' Hall of the Wartburg Castle, where minstrel competitions were held in the 13th century. The hall was built for small private concerts, but Ludwig himself never gave one here. It is said that during the last few years of Wagner's life, he came to Neuschwanstein frequently and performed for the king alone in this room. The hall is probably best known for its enigmatic wolf paintings. The original paintings were from the Parsifal saga, but in 1882, Ludwig had them replaced, supplying the description and titles of the new paintings himself. While all the other rooms in the castle show scenes from Wagner's operas, the scenes in this room are not from any opera that anyone can identify. It is yet another of the many mysteries associated with the life of the fairy tale king.
Like, honestly, I think about this sort of thing. Like, you could have this mysterious figure who just wanted to be a fairy tale king as hard as he could. And I really feel sympathetic for the guy.
Engelhard courts Hildegunde.
Hildegunde, okay. Where do we start with these? I think is it over here? Maybe?
Hildegunde's imprisonment.
Who knows? Yeah, most of this does feel really accurate. A lot of this feels really accurate.
The wedding feast of Hildegunde and the Baron.
I remember reading a lot about Wagner and a lot about Ludwig when I first encountered this game.
The death of Engelhard.
It fascinated me, and it still fascinates me because it is one of the hardest blends of historical fiction with historical reality that I've ever seen. Indeed, when we get to Gabriel Knight 3, which may be a couple weeks, a lot of that is very Da Vinci Code. But Gabriel Knight 3 came out before the Da Vinci Code. Like, I remember when the Da Vinci Code came out, a certain subset of adventure game authors were like, oh wow, Dan Brown wrote a Gabriel Knight ripoff, who would have known?
Ludwig's childhood castle, Hohenschwangau, is visible from the lookout in the Singers' Hall.
Ah, yeah.
Nice view of the Alps.
You can really see a fantastic Hohenschwangau out the window. I don't know what that means. It sounds obscene.
There must be a story behind these wolf paintings. But what story?
Yeah, I don't blame you, Grace.
Engelhard and the blacksmith. Engelhard courts Hildegunde.
And with that, we've
The
been all
hunters
the way
track
around.
down Engelhart and Hildegunde.
I think we can leave through one of these. Yeah. So does that exhaust the area? No, there is still stuff left to do in Neuschwanstein. But I don't know what it is.
Have you ever heard about the wolf panels in the Singers' Hall at Neuschwanstein?
Did my brother send you here?
No?
Probably not. It's only the letter to the conductor, the wolf panels. Oh, my brother thinks I am crazy because of all my theories.
What theories?
This is Quatsch. If there was a lost opera, a lost Wagner opera, and if one could find it, to a conductor, this would be like finding King Tut's tomb. But people have looked for it before. If it ever existed, it is gone forever. My brother says I waste my time even thinking about it.
Great, Saria, thanks. Now my brain is crossing it over. Like, by Azra! Have you heard of the lost Wagner opera?
I'm curious. Is there any other information that points to the lost opera besides Ludwig's letter and the wolf panels?
It's nothing. I'm not even supposed to have seen it. You see, my brother says that Wagner was too egotistical to have produced a lost opera. If he was working on something new, every person in Bayreuth would have heard about it. On the other hand, it was in Ludwig's character to have wanted a private opera.
But it wouldn't have been private. Ludwig's letter shows he intended it to be played in Munich.
Yes, but that it would get so far without Wagner telling others, why keep it a secret?
Maybe there was a very good reason for secrecy.
For example?
Like... Never mind.
Grace isn't gonna go out on that limb just yet. Alright, I can't find anything else to do. Let's stop back by the building. Yeah, maybe Ludwig was a gay werewolf. Cue Grace being ejected into the Alps at like 200 miles an hour.
Hi, did you have a good time?
Uh-huh. Anything new?
Yes, you had a phone call.
Really?
A man named Professor Barkley. He said you had his number.
I do. Thanks.
Alright, we're on great terms with Gerda now. Let's get upstairs and call Barkley back. Not the guy from, like, Next Generation. Alright, to the desk. Barkley from Hoop? No, not Hoops Barkley. Gabriel Knight 2 is not part of the Hoops Barkley saga.
Hello?
Hi, Professor Barkley. It's Grace.
Oh, good. I have a name for you. It's Herr Josef Dahlmeier, and he specializes in Bavarian history, and I think he's somewhere near you are.
Herr Josef Dahlmeier. Great, got a number?
Yeah, I do. It's 4982-555-2234.
Thanks a lot. Sorry about the bother.
That's no bother. When are you coming back to school, Gracie?
When I figure it out, I'll let you know.
Well, be good.
That was probably the least charismatic delivery I've ever heard in my life, but it's cool. Alright, we've got Dahlmeyer's name and phone number. Let's give him a dial. Top one off. Oh, piano coming in hard.
Hallo?
Hallo, sind Sie Herr Josef Dahlmeier?
Yeah, you must be Grace Nakamura, the American history student.
Yes.
I hear you're interested in Ludwig II.
Very.
Good. There's something I want to show you. Drive to Berg on Starnberger See. Meet me at the Memorial Chapel.
All right. Thank you.
Oh, wait. Was there anything you wanted me to look into before we meet?
Well, I was hoping you knew something about someone called the Black Wolf. He was a contemporary of Ludwig's. He lived in Prussia, I think, and he was well connected.
Never heard of him, but I'll check. See you there.
Thanks. Bye.
Alright, let's get our asses out there and see what he has to say. I love... This game is just a constant attack by piano. You know that? We are constantly being pianed. 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 We're being pianed at. Why did I say that? Because it's true! We're being pianed at! Listen to this! Can she be the protagonist? Grace largely is the protagonist. Well, yeah, she's the non-action protagonist. I understand that in Gabriel Knight 2, they continue to swap and share the role. But I would like a full-on Grace game. And that's why sometime later, maybe in December, maybe not, I plan to be playing Grey Matter, the next Gabriel Knight game, where our main character is a lady who is a complete charlatan magician. A stage magician. And doing magic tricks does feature into the plot. So, I look forward to showing you all that. Grey Matter did not get very much of a showcase. Not a lot of people have heard of it, but I really like that game. Alright, what's this?
It's a memorial chapel.
Okay. Oh man, yeah, I gotta play the Phoenix Wright games too at some point. My throat is gonna hate me after that one. Oh, well, here's a railing.
This is where he died. You must be Grace. Herr Dahlmeier.
Hello.
Josef. I didn't mean to startle you. I wanted you to see it. I feel him here the most, you know, more than at the castle. So, what did you want to know?
I love this guy's introduction. He walks up and, this is where he died. I'm like, oh, great, cool, thanks. Yeah, so let's pump this guy for Ludwig information.
Professor Barclay says your hobby is Ludwig.
Yes. He was the last real king that Bavaria had. As a Bavarian and a history buff, well, that's enough to hook me right there.
But there's more, right?
He was a romantic, you know. A dreamer. And he was misunderstood, maligned.
Sounds like you can relate.
Me? Hell, I have it easy. At least I live in the 1990s. And not every eye in the country is on me. But yes, I can relate.
At least I live in the 1990s. Man, I am envious of you, my dude. I miss living in the 1990s.
You know about Ludwig's diary, right?
Of course.
How can I get my hands on it?
I'm sorry. I have been trying myself for 5 years. They keep it locked up tight in the Royal Archives and they don't let it out. They must think it contains things that will hurt his image.
They won't let anyone see it, not ever?
Only one person outside of the government ever got to see it, a biographer, Sir Richmond Chapel. He had friends among the German royals and they let him look at it.
Did you ever try to contact Chapel, pick his brain?
No, and I don't believe I never thought of that. If you do and you find out anything, you must share.
It's a promise.
Well, looks like Matt Swillender, a tennis star from the 80s. I keep thinking he looks like one of the kids in the hall. I'm not sure which one. But he definitely gives me that sort of vibe. I don't know why.
Tell me about Ludwig.
I don't know where to start. There's so much. Politically, the most significant thing about Ludwig II was that he signed over independent Bavarian statehood to Prussia in 1870. Bavaria became a part of United Germany, and Ludwig became a figurehead prince under the Prussian Kaiser.
Why do you think he did that?
Bavaria had been involved in the 100 Years' War. People were tired of fighting. Prussia's push to unite the German states made some amount of sense. Still, Ludwig must have had other options. At the very least, he should have negotiated better terms.
So what was the real reason?
He was manipulated by Bismarck. At least that's what I think, anyway.
So does Bismarck. A Kaiser Bismarck. It sounds like either a maverick or a sandwich.
What about Ludwig personally?
You'll find two perspectives on Ludwig. The view the tourists get is the romantic ideal, Ludwig the tormented loner. Then there is the historian's point of view. Ludwig was plagued with guilt over his sexual orientation and was driven mad with self-loathing.
But I take it you're not buying either point of view.
Well, it's all too convenient, isn't it? That he was a devout Catholic, there is no question, and I'm sure there were pressures on him to be normal. But he was no prude. He loved Byron. Yes. Philosophy, the French court. If anything, Ludwig was too much an egomaniac. He didn't give a damn what anyone thought. And besides, he didn't try to hide any of his relationships. If he suffered from anything in his romantic life, it was disillusionment. No one loved him back as purely as he himself loved.
Well, if it wasn't sexual guilt that tormented him, what was it?
I don't know. His diary was filled with self-guilt, but I'm sure it's not about that. If I knew, I'd write my own book, set the record straight, so to speak.
I love Grace's reaction there, where she has, like, a brief blue screen. What? It wasn't the sexual guilt? What was it then? Like, I'm pretty sure Grace's middle name is potentially sexual guilt. I'm just saying. And what about, tell me about Bismarck.
Tell me about Bismarck.
I just said that.
Bismarck. He was the Prussian Kaiser's chancellor. Not a nice man. Bismarck had a reputation for learning people's weaknesses and manipulating them. It's a matter of record that he had spies on Ludwig's staff. He may even have had a henchman even closer to the king. And he was involved in the conspiracy to declare Ludwig insane.
Conspiracy to declare Ludwig insane. If this wasn't actual history, I'd be like, this is so made up.
Have you read anything about Ludwig's midnight sleigh rides?
Would that have been something? To be out at night and suddenly see him sweep by with his entourage? They say the night agitated Ludwig, and that being outdoors and the rushing feeling of the sleigh calmed him down. Sometimes even the sleigh wasn't enough. He would stop in some remote woods, order his servants to stay put, and go wandering off by himself for hours. It drove the servants crazy.
True. Oh, wow. Yeah, I would love to go out in the middle of the night to some woods and just wander around for hours, except that I would return covered in ticks and mosquitoes and immediately die of Lyme disease. I'm clearly not cut out to be a Bavarian king. Let's say that.
What do you know about Ludwig's hunting accident?
A couple of years ago, I was introduced to this great old man, a real old world farmer. Well, his grandfather was Richard Horning, Ludwig's equestrian. Oh, he told some great Ludwig stories. Sometimes I get lucky. Anyway, he said that after the hunting accident, Ludwig got terribly ill, that he had a fever and was acting crazy. They were afraid that the wolf had been carrying a disease or that the bite had gone septic.
A wolf bit him?
Yeah, it's not so unusual. There were a lot of wolves in the Alps back then. The servants were really worried, but Ludwig recovered, physically anyway. Horning's grandfather said it was the fever that broke Ludwig's mind, that he was worse than ever after that.
Yeah, he was bitten by a wolf. Surely that's got to be a coincidence in this game.
What do you mean Ludwig got worse after the accident?
Ludwig always had been a very private person. But after the accident, he got darker, more crazy. Towards the end, he was even forcing his servants to enter his chambers bent over so they couldn't see his face. Horning's grandfather said his temper was fearsome. He would fly into a rage at the least mistake.
Must have been terrified of him.
Yes, well. Horning's grandfather felt sorry for Ludwig, and Ludwig hated his own violence. He was always giving gifts to his servants to apologize.
Nice.
You mentioned that there were other reasons why Ludwig's servants feared him.
Ah, that's another of Horning's mysteries. There's a story about Neuschwanstein. Apparently, there was a period of time of 2 or 3 months when Wagner would come and visit him
Wagner?
there. Yeah. The two would lock themselves in the singers' hall. Horning's grandfather said the sounds that came from there were awful. Well, the servants had superstitious minds anyway. Some of them quit over it, just walked away.
What kind of sounds?
Horning's grandfather called them heartbreaking and ungodly. Maybe it was Wagner trying to sing.
It's cool, man. Just clip all over that microphone. Oh, the sound compression really hurts this. This game feels like in a couple more years it will be unlistenable. I mean, it's already showing its age. And I feel like that's a shame, but I guess the thing about material that is of a certain time and place is that it's always going to be dated to that time and place. It will always have the marks of having been made then.
Did you find out anything about the Black Wolf?
I did. I'd read about him before, but I hadn't realized that was who you were talking about. His name was Godin, Paul Godin. I found a reference to his being called the Black Wolf after you telephoned.
I've never heard of him. Who was he?
Godin lived on the fringes of the Prussian court. He was handsome, charming, dangerous, or so they say. He was variously rumored to have been a foreign prince, a Prussian spy, even an assassin. Since you were interested in him, I found out some things that are probably true.
Probably.
It said he came from abroad in the mid-1800s, but claimed High German blood.
Do you know where he came from?
No. And he was ruthlessly ambitious. He probably found out who held the power, Bismarck, and offered his services. Bismarck was a good judge of talent, of that sort anyway.
I'll go then to the wood, yeah.
What else do you know about Godin?
He must have done something remarkable. Bismarck was not a generous man. He liked to string people along with promises, but rarely came through. He did for Godin, though. He gave him a royal title and lands in 1863. And that was the last reference I found to him.
Well, how could he just disappear?
It's not that unusual. Back then, when you were given a title, you usually changed your name and moved to a place where no one knew your past, so you could act with impunity, or be a pompous ass and get away with it.
God, I wish that were me. I wish I could, change my name, move somewhere, and be a pompous ass. Welcome to my Twitch channel, by the way, folks.
Is there any way to find out what Godin was called after he got his title?
Is it that critical?
It might be.
Well, you could send away for a copy of the entitlement deed, assuming it has been destroyed during one of the wars. Godin's new name would be on it. But you would need a research permit from the government to access those records, and they can be very hard to get. A lot of red tape.
Great. Well, I guess that's all for now. Thanks for your help.
It's my pleasure. And if you ever want to talk again, just give me a call. I'll meet you down there.
I will. Thanks.
Servus.
Well, bye.
Alright, well, we didn't really get a chance to look around.
This is where they found Ludwig's body.
All the way out there, man.
This is...
He went a long way.
I wonder what it felt like under there.
Alright, now y'all remember that I mentioned the cuckoo clock as one of the most obtuse puzzles in the game. We're coming up on what I consider to be the second most obtuse puzzle in the game. So let's head back and, trying to remember exactly, like, what to do here. And I'm a little fuzzy on it. Well, let's head back in.
Hi, Gerda. I'm back. Good.
We'll check the Schottenjäger library. I'm a little fuzzy, period. I am not a little I'm a little fuzzy, comma. I'm a little fuzzy, exclamation point. My punctuation is unmatched. Yes, like those. Do we have a copy of any of those books that got talked about?
I wish I could read these biographies of Ludwig. Wait a minute. Ludwig II, fairy tale king of Bavaria. I didn't see this before. Yep, English. Huh.
You gotta hug the book. You gotta cuddle the book. Oh, hey, it's written by Sir Richmond Chappell. We just heard that name. And we've got a phone number for the dude. And we've got, like, a little rune.
Ludwig remained throughout his life both very bright and very naive. He was an introvert who seemed to be constantly out of sync with traditional views of rulership, money, and human relationships. The world ever failed to match his ideals. Perhaps this was a fault of his sheltered upbringing as future king. He never was introduced to the real world, and the real world failed to interest him as an adult. In his youth, Ludwig was in fine physical condition and loved to hike alone in the Alps and ride horses. He had a hunting lodge, Schahen, specifically for this purpose. Unfortunately, in 1872, a rather traumatic hunting accident befell the king at Schahen, and his leg was cruelly damaged. He never fully recovered from this incident, and his hiking and riding ceased. His physical health deteriorated from that time on, and explains why he looked so unhealthy in later years. A hunting accident?
I'd like to point out that, this is page 1 of the book, apparently. We're just diving straight into Ludwig remained throughout his life, etc.
Other than his long-standing friendship with the Empress Elizabeth of Austria and with his mother, the relationships Ludwig attempted with others were nearly always a disappointment for him and a bewilderment for his partners. He would become obsessed with someone, a singer, an artist, a nobleman or a peasant, and would bombard them with gifts, praise, and favors. When they would fail to return the depths of rapturous passion he required, the singular adoration and humble obedience he expected, he would grow disappointed and cut himself off from them. The objects of his interest were occasionally women, usually ones he fell in love with after seeing them in idealized roles on the stage, but they were more often young men who fit his fantasies of the heroic sagas like Lohengrin and Parsifal that he so loved.
Yeah, I mean, singling someone out, bombing them with romance, and then, like, getting disappointed and leaving is probably not really a healthy way to have friendships. He was friends with his mom. That's cool.
A good example of the king's obsessive behavior in relationships is the following letter from the Königlich Bayerische archives, which this author was privileged to access. It is dated 1864, and it was written by Ludwig's manservant, Paul, to a friend. The king has been in high mood these days. The reason, of course, is a new interest. Thursday last, the king attended a performance of Lohengrin in the Wittelsbacher Theater. He came back in a fever, demanding that a man be found. The man, it was gathered, had been sitting in a box across from Ludwig and had drawn the king's attention by his beauty and his deep emotional response to the performance. The king declared that here at last is a sensitive soul. The man was tracked down and brought in for an audience. Upon my word, never have I seen any mind so in line with His Majesty's own. They discussed Wagner and France and Byron and all manner of things until long past dawn. The young man, beautiful indeed to look upon, met the king's enthusiasm and knowledge bit for bit. His Majesty has been in the thick of it ever since, and while I welcome his good temper, I grow tired of fetching letters back and forth to Louis, so called by His Majesty, that should tell you who the young man looks like, at all hours of the night. 1863? Wasn't that about the same time the Black Wolf got his entitlement? This author has not been able to learn much about Louis, but he was known to have been a seemingly high-bred foreigner, and he was involved with Ludwig as late as 1880 when he fell into disfavor.
Grace, I'm not sure where you pulled that observation from, but okay.
The king, especially later in life, felt a great deal of guilt about his sensual nature. His diaries are full of repentant entries begging God for forgiveness and swearing to remain pure. In many of the diary entries, he swears to abstain from sexual relations. The number of these oath entries indicate that Ludwig was not very successful in resisting temptation, yet it is also clear that Ludwig was a God-fearing man and that, though his flesh might occasionally fall, he never surrendered his heart and his conscience to sin.
Grace piped up that 1863 was about, around a specific time. But this was dated 1864, so I'm not sure why she spoke up about 1863. Anyway, we've got this manuscript. We've got this history book. We've got a phone number. We know this guy managed to get in to see Ludwig's diary. So let's give it a try. Continuity error? Yeah, probably.
Hallo, Bertel München.
Hi, I have a book of yours on Ludwig II. The author's name is Sir Richmond Chapel.
Yes, how can I help you?
Well, I'm doing some research on Ludwig, and I was hoping you could get me in contact with the author.
I'm afraid Sir Richmond Chapel is deceased.
Oh.
However, his son is living.
Oh. Well, is there any way you can put me in touch with him?
And who are you doing this research for?
Well, I'm working with Professor Barkley from Yale University.
No, you're not.
All right.
Okay.
Thomas Chapel's number
You kind of are.
41 20 555 771.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Goodbye.
Bye.
I'm working with him, she said. Yeah, sure, you are, Grace, but... Alright, let's try Chapel. Or Chapel Jr. Man, that note got crumpled in a hurry. Oh, you look comfy.
Chapel residence.
Hi, my name is Grace Nakamura. I'm calling from Rittersburg, Germany. Is Thomas Chappell there, please?
Speaking. What may I do for you, Miss Nakamura?
This is gonna sound crazy, but I have a copy of your father's biography on Ludwig II. I understand he had access to Ludwig's diary.
Yes.
Well, oh God, I'm not even sure.
He looks like Neil
He
Patrick
didn't make
Harris.
a copy of it or anything, did he? Or perhaps he took good notes?
He wrote down a complete translation in English. He said he couldn't make headway with the German version. Ludwig's handwriting was rather brogue, you know.
He wrote down an English translation. Do you still have it?
Well, unfortunately, my father was allowed to see the diary only on the grounds that he wouldn't publish the entire work. I can't let you see it. Have you tried contacting the National Archive?
No, I don't have the kinds of connections your father did, or the time.
That's unfortunate, but I really cannot let it out of my hands.
I understand. It was just a shot in the dark.
Very well. The best of luck to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chappell.
Ah, well. You know, it really was a shot in the dark. What were the odds that he would ever do anything like that for a random stranger? Let's head back down and out. Clomp, 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 clomp. Nice fortune. Thank you. I try really hard. It's gonna be really difficult when I'm playing Gabriel Knight 3, which I've never played before. And I'm not gonna know how to die. I'm not gonna know where to die. I'm not gonna know any of the puzzle solutions. That one might take us longer than usual because I will be going in largely blind. I mean, I know the solution to the cat hair mustache puzzle, which is legendary. But, you know. Oh, hey! Flowers have bloomed.
Gibt's das denn, die Lilien blühen schon?
Sehr schön.
Ja, aber es ist doch noch so kalt.
I don't know what you just said, sir.
Für Sie ein Geschenk von der Madonna.
Oh, no.
Nehmen Sie sie ruhig. Heute Nacht wird es kalt und sie wird sowieso erfrieren.
Thank you.
Nice, we have a flower of some kind. What is it? It is...
Father Getz said the lily was a gift from the Madonna. That's an odd way of looking at it.
Yeah, that did... It sounded like, they're blooming in spite of the cold or something. It did sound a lot like that. Anyway, so this is what I consider to be the second most difficult puzzle in the game. You have to remember that the Smiths mentioned trying to reach out to Ludwig's spirit. You have to remember that Ludwig identified himself strongly with lilies. And, alright, so you have that knowledge. You might want to use the lily to reach out to Ludwig somehow. The question being, how? Where? Well, remember that the spot where he died was where that one guy feels him the most strongly. So let's take the lily out there. And then just let it drift.
figure out what you want me to do. But I need more information to work with. If you can send any my way, I'd appreciate it.
Cool. So, what did that accomplish? Science doesn't know. Only mysticism knows. And the hint system knows. It tells us we've still got stuff to do at these 3 places. So let's head back to the Schloss. Head on in, and do not skip the cutscene, which, you know, by now you will have seen a few dozen times.
Hi, Gerda. I'm back.
Good.
And there's nothing. I really thought, I kind of thought there would be something, actually.
Gerda?
Yes?
Have you heard from Gabriel at all?
No, Grace, I'm sorry.
Never mind.
Yeah, fair.
Gerda, do you have any idea where I could get a government research permit? I don't have time for a lot of red tape.
You should ask Herr Übergrau. He can maybe get such things very fast.
You think? I was gonna write Gabriel today anyway.
You know, that's not a bad idea. Let's, go right Herr Übergrau and Gabriel. There's been very little... Oops. There's been very little Gabriel this session, which may come as a relief to some of you. Alright, let's,
I should get a letter off to Gabriel. I need to include a note to Übergrau about the research permit.
Yeah, our typewriter is great. I love typewriter. I wonder if you can get, like, a keyboard that is a typewriter. I mean, a keyboard in the form factor of a typewriter. And let's head on back downstairs. We're going off to the post office. But yeah, I really thought that there would be something that interrupted us as we came in. But I'm guessing we haven't done quite enough yet. Enough stuff. Now let's head on down. And over to the post office, where we will mail this letter. Grace to Gabriel envelope. Right, cool. No, we need to buzz it first. Typewriter tile keycaps, but nothing that mimics the entire form factor. That's a shame. Well, less in the way. That does mean that somebody's probably done it.
Grüß Gott. Haben Sie etwas für mich?
Nein, leider nicht. Brauchen Sie noch etwas?
Kann ich diesen Brief versenden?
Ja, 3 Mark bitte.
3 Mark. $3? Okay.
Dankeschön.
Bitte sehr. Brauchen Sie noch etwas?
Danke.
Bitte.
Danke, bitte. Come to think of it, let's make one more quick check. Let's see if there's anything at the Rot House that'll help us. Quirky writer seems like the most prominent. Not really got the angle and bulk of a typewriter keyboard. That makes sense. I'm sure it's not as easy as it sounds.
Guess they're closed.
Oh, they're closed. Okay, never mind. I'll fuck off. I guess I'll just leave. Head on back up. Stop in.
Hi. You just had a phone call. It was Frau Gelder at the post office. She said a fax came in for you there.
Really? I wonder what it was.
Maybe it's from Gabriel.
Don't hold your breath.
Grace is just never gonna stop being a complete dick about that. But yeah, alright, let's head back out. Fax from the post office, huh? Let's get it. Just the facts, ma'am. Some bits! Hello, Tiger, and thank you for the dollar of bits.
Ja, ein Fax. Ein sehr langes Fax.
Ein Fax?
Das ist aber nicht vom Schattenjäger.
It's okay. Dankeschön.
It's not from the Schattenjäger.
Thomas Chapel. Oh.
Thomas Chapel? Oh. Okay. Mrs. Nakamura, it seems I've had a change of heart. Please, keep this in the strictest confidence. And good luck on your endeavor.
11th June 1872. Louis has convinced me to think matters through more thoroughly before I act. A trip it shall be then, to Shahin. It shall not alter my purpose, I feel, nor shall his compelling. The treaty is the ruin of my beloved Bavaria, and must be taken to task.
Did he fax her the entire thing? I don't think so, but it says fax of Ludwig's. He might have. You know, he might have faxed her an entire diary. It's a dense fucking
3rd
layout.
July 1872. The pain gets so bad, I cannot hold a pen to write, but the horror is far worse than the pain. He says it was an accident, says that we can truly be one now, that it is a great adventure. I believe him 1 minute, and the next I can feel the flames of hell upon my heels. May God have mercy on my soul.
Oh, that sounds bad.
5th January 1874. By the power of Mary, Mother of God, I swear to refrain from the ultimate sin and to remain steadfast in my flesh. Sworn by the power of the lily, Eleanor. 30th August 1879. I will not falter, but will remain true. No matter the torment or longing, I will not yield. I will control the process. God grant me strength and will. By the grace and power of the monarchy and its allegiance. De Paul Leroy, Eleanor. 10th September 1880. It is all finished. Elizabeth warned me, and I discovered the truth at last. O most venomous viper at my very bosom, O lowest of the least worthy who ever breathed, my Judas, my devil, if I could tear my heart out and fling it after him in the dirt, I would. I would.
I love how dramatic Ludwig is about everything in his life. Admittedly, he probably has a reason to be dramatic here, but it's funny to me. He does write like he's, 14 years old and on LiveJournal. For some 140-year-old letters, they look like they're preserved remarkably well. These are handwritten English translations of a diary. So, and they've been faxed to me, so. These are not the originals.
12th December 1880. He continues to come, the devil. I will never look upon his hideous face again. He is afraid I will tell, and I might. To destroy him, I might. When I think of the accident, now that things are clear, I wonder, was it truly an accident, or was it the plot to kill me? If so, why did he not complete it then, instead of putting me in this torment? Could he have hated me so? I wish to God he had simply ended it there. 10th June 1881. Terror. Rapture. During W's music tonight, I felt a pulling. The horror nearly came upon me right there. Then the music turned, and it was gone. What can it mean? I must confide in the great friend. Perhaps he will know what has happened. 2nd August 1882. The experiments go better and better. W has proved as loyal and determined as ever I believed he would be in a matter of my salvation. He says he has the formula now. It remains only to put the finishing touches on the completed opera and to draw up the diagram for the crystals. Can it truly end? I scarce dare to hope. April 1883. The great friend is dead. How unjust that he should be taken from me now. Where is my chance at salvation? Why has God condemned me twice? 10th October 1885. There must be made clear funds for the crystals. Lies. Everyone lies. My own servants. What must I do? Must I sell one of my beloved castles? The crystals must be made. I grow daily less able to control my own will. How long will I be able to resist the ultimate sin? And the music is worthless without the device. Time is running out. The crystals must be made.
So here we see that as a death and ruin came around him, Ludwig became more and more of a Final Fantasy character. Just became obsessed with crystals. But yeah, alright, well. So we've now read Ludwig's diary, and in the context of this being a werewolf game, I think we can all intuit what some of the secrets he was trying to keep was. That's fascinating to me. And, we were asked to keep this diary in the strictest confidence. So, let's immediately go show it to some people. Particularly at the Wagner Museum. Better not be using those crystals to summon primals. Oh, only himself.
Have you heard of Ludwig's diary?
Yes, but no one is allowed to see it.
It just so happens that I have a copy of an English translation right here. There's something I wanted to show you. Read this one.
August, 1880. The experiments go better and better. They has proved as loyal and determined as ever. It remains only to put the finishing touches on the completed opera and to make up the diagram for the crystal. My God! Wait, I want to show you something. I am not supposed to have looked at this myself, but I am here alone all day, so...
I'm not supposed to have looked at this diary either. Let's trade secrets.
Yeah.
July 1881. Richard returned from his meeting with the king. Never have I seen him so pale. I was concerned for his heart. He would not speak with me, but immediately shut himself up in his study and started working on a new project.
He will not tell me the first thing about it. He will only say that it was time he repaid his king. It confirms Ludwig's diary. He wasn't crazy.
Yes, but Ludwig says that the opera was completed. Imagine that, completed. There's something else.
August 1882. We had a messenger tonight from the king. He brought a letter which Richard burnt. I did manage to see a bit of it. It said something about a great night in Munich and that it would be Richard's supreme triumph and someone else's destruction. Ludwig then wrote that even though he himself would probably die, his immortal soul would be freed thanks to Richard. I worry for poor Ludwig and for us. Where will we be if his madness continues? Surely someone will put an end to it. Wow.
There's one more.
May 1883. I sent Richard's sealed package to the king, as he instructed moments before he closed his eyes forever. I could not even bring myself to care what was in it. What could it matter now? Whatever it is, I hope it brings the king good memories of Richard. He did so much for my beloved.
The package.
The package! Package! Unfortunately, now we are back to chapter 5. Which means it's Gabriel time, everybody! Aren't you excited to be back with Gabriel Knight after all that? I'm not. I want to go back and research some more shit. Well, let's get some Gabriel in our Gabriel Knight game. Gabriel waking up in a nice bed. That is not your bed, Gabriel. Where are you? Gabriel? What have you been doing?
She sounds delightful. I'd love to meet her.
Oh, she's a hoot, all right. Just pretend you don't have a penis around and you'll be fine. Got this inborn need to rip them off.
Now I'm really intrigued.
This one time, I'd gone off to this, well, party, you might say. And it was getting a bit hairy. Well, Gracie... Oh.
Detta. Come here, Kleiner.
This is totally a thing that happens all the time in Germany, I'm sure.
Detta does not speak English, but then she has her own methods of communication.
I should leave you two kids alone.
Oh, don't be silly.
I just can't get over how much Gabriel looks like fucking Shaggy Rogers in this scene.
Friedrich, I can't just take your date.
Why not? I didn't expect her tonight. And for some reason, I don't find myself in that mood. Besides, from what you've told me, you live like a monk down south at that castle. Your body needs some attention. Detta. Ta in sein Schlafzimmer.
2 hours later. Yeah, Gabriel Knight, monk. Can you imagine Gabriel trying to have sex with that fucking amulet on? All clunking her in the head with it and stuff. It's terrible. Was this by the Phantasmagoria? Well, yes, it was, believe me, this is a lot more, respectful to humanity than anything done in the Phantasmagoria game. Either of them. And then Von Glauer comes in. And I'm sorry, this is more erotic than anything that was happening with Detta. Yes, enter Von Glauer, accompanied by a ferocious pianist. Error, missing text. Oh. I have some business to attend to. Yeah, that's pretty much all it said. I have some business to attend to. I'm not here. Help yourself to whatever, I guess. Oh well, I guess we're out. Let's see. Prince Gettenplatz has something to say, and there's something at Marinplatz. Let's head back to the
I don't need to go back to the Yuba's place right now.
Oh, alright. That's fine. Let's see what's at Prince Gettenplatz and see if there's anything, you know, useful.
The American P.I.
Criminal Commissar Lieber. I couldn't just call you KKL, could I?
Sit down.
Yeah, let's go. I don't need to go back there. Oh, well,
How
okay
about
then,
KKK?
yeah. Gabriel, it is a miracle that this large German man is not body slamming you through several layers of plywood right now.
I don't want to discuss anything heavy till I've picked up my tape recorder.
Oh, right. I completely forgot. Tape recorder. See ya. That's fair. Alright, and we gotta talk to Ubergrau, but first, let's sit down. Goodbye. Right, we got to go back to the Dienstrauben and get our tape recorder, and then we've got to check out Ubergrau. And that, I think, will put an end to tonight's rampage of destruction.
The men will be meeting here later today for the trip. I'm sure they won't wait for you, so you might want to be on time.
I'll be here. Sweet of you to worry, though.
Every time Xavier, or whatever his name is, looks at Gabe, you can see the shut the fuck up on his face. Alright. Let's see what we got. Subtle, Gabe. Subtle. Alright. Von Zell conversation tape.
I recorded some of Von Zell's conversation last night. Unfortunately, it's in German.
The only man capable to make anyone give a shut the fuck up fit. He really does, doesn't he? He has that aura of shut the fuck up ability. A certain shut the fuck up-itude. Oh. There's a sale.
I don't think she speaks much English. Besides, she only wants to talk about white sausages.
Just like Detta last night. Alright, well, what can we,
Can I have some of that, Weisswurst?
6 Mark, bitte. Dankeschön.
Twice first.
Bitte. Don't these sausages look a little pale to you? Maybe I'll just hold on to them.
Yes, Gabriel, Weisswurst is... It's white, it's white. White sausage is white, Gabriel. A vampire sausage? You're telling me this sausage makes
Guten Morgen,
sports
Gabriel.
balls?
Another envelope came from Rittersberg. A request for me and a letter for you.
Just set that aside. Am I able to open it? Take a look.
Gabriel, I've been busy on this case, and it's starting to pay off. Thought I'd fill you in. There's definitely something going on with Ludwig II. I'm pretty sure he was involved with a werewolf. In fact, he was probably turned into one himself. Anyway, something happened to him on this hunting trip, and afterwards he fits the profile in the lore book to a T. It's really fascinating. There's an American couple here, the Smiths. They're from Pennsylvania, if you can believe it. Mrs. Smith has been telling me all about your fortune, and she's sure you're tied in with Ludwig somehow. She also told me to warn you to beware the Black Wolf. Have you learned anything about that yet? So don't tell me where you're staying, as if I care. Really, we're supposed to be a team, Gabriel. I'm holding up my end. I've about done all I can down here, and if you want, I can join you there soon. Perhaps I'll see something I recognize from my research. I'm serious. Grace.
Christ, she's losing it. Ludwig II, a werewolf. Yeah, right.
They're from Pennsylvania, if you can believe it. Can you believe in Pennsylvania? Clap your hands if you believe in Pennsylvania. I personally don't believe it exists. Alright, let's chat with Gabriel.
Have any luck with that missing person search?
Oh, of course, I forgot. Frau Hogel dropped off something this morning. Yes, there are 2 forest areas where missing persons incidents are concerned. The Nationalpark Bayerischer Wald and the Naturpark Schwäbisch-Fränkischer Wald. Frau Hogel checked both these areas back 10 years. Between 1960 and 1969, there were only 1 to 2 cases a year in the Bavarian National Forest area. Between 1970 and 1990, there were 10 to 12 cases each year. Oh. In 1991, it went up to 17, then went back down to 12 in 92 and 93. The Schwäbisch-Fränkischer Wald figures are similar.
Curious.
Does something ring a bell?
If it does, I should be able to hear it loud and clear. I'm leaving this afternoon for the Bavarian National Forest.
Oh, did you hear that piano? I didn't. But yeah, I like the... How do you pronounce the Schwabenschwanken-Fwankenweld? I like that term a bit. Hey, would you like a white forest?
I'm not sure why I'd want to show him that.
Okay. Can you listen to this tape for me?
Can I bother you for another favor? I need something translated, and I need somebody I can trust to do it.
And you're asking me? You obviously don't know German lawyers.
Harry, you're such a kidder. Okay. Here it is.
Wir müssen miteinander reden.
We should talk?
Nein.
No?
Es ist meine Karriere, verdammt noch einmal. Vielleicht sogar mehr, wenn die...
His career is in danger even if the police...
Ich habe Ihnen doch gesagt, nicht darüber zu sprechen.
I told you not to speak of it.
Aber ich denke mir, dass die Polizei bereits weiß, dass unsere Wölfe nichts damit zu tun haben. Die können einen Test machen an den Körpern.
The police must know that our wolves are not responsible. There are tests they can perform on the bodies.
Gut. Ihre geflüchteten Wölfe sind keine Killer. Was soll's?
Gabriel, is this the kind of thing you should be playing for a lawyer?
Damit besser dran.
So, your escape wolves are not the killers. What's the problem?
Aber Herr Knight, er kam gestern Morgen zu meinem Büro. Er hat viele Fragen gestellt.
He says you've been asking a lot of questions.
Worüber?
About what?
Über die Wölfe.
About the wolves. Who are these men?
Just friends.
They're just friends, yeah. Friends, you know, my buddies.
Ich muss mit jemand anderem reden.
He doesn't want to talk, says he has someone else to speak to.
Ich habe mir gedacht, wissen Sie etwas über Großbergs Tod?
Do you know anything about Großberg's death?
Wieso sollte ich?
Why the hell should I?
Nun, ganz einfach. Ich gab Ihnen seinen Namen.
I gave you his name.
Und?
And?
Er fragt mich, ob ich Großberg kenne.
He says you asked him if he knew Großberg.
Was?
I think I know what happens next.
You know, it would be a great tragedy if the Ritterline were to die out. A great, great tragedy. I'm not just talking about for the sake of our fun, but...
I know what I'm doing, Harry.
No, you fucking don't. You have not known what you're doing a moment of your goddamn life. Gabriel, you were born not knowing what you were doing, and the situation is not improved. Oh, boy.
See you, Harry.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, good luck. Don't die. Yeah, Harry looked like he was about to deck it. Like, no! What are you doing? I'm your lawyer. You can't play me this tape. Oh. So on that note, when we come back, we've got the police to talk to, and we've got a hunting trip to go on with the people who want us dead. Not coincidentally, this chapter is the first chapter we can get killed in. You request one. What do you request, Kelvin? May I assist you? How may I assist you? Please give me a collage of all the shut the fuck up faces you got for this. I don't have editing software that can store an image of that size. Description of the next chapter will be, it's time to kill Gabe. please look forward to next time when we get Gabriel Knight killed for the first time in this game. Definitely not the last. But that will be on Tuesday. Tomorrow, it is very likely we're going to get back to playing Zwei 2. I've done some grinding. Not nearly enough, I don't think, but we can give it a shot. And after that, on Sunday, we will either be, depending on how it goes, we'll either be playing more Zwei 2, or I will fire up City of Heroes and show you guys some of my characters. Because I did promise you some City of Heroes gameplay after we played Ship of Heroes. After we played future failed MMO Ship of Heroes. I will play past dead MMO City of Heroes for your entertainment. City of Heroes. Oh, I love City of Heroes. City of Heroes was my very first MMO ever. No, you know, that's a lie. My very first MMO ever was beta testing Asheron's Call. I was very bad at it. I did not understand Asheron's Call. At all. Give you the server info. Oh, I will. Either I'll let you know after the next stream, or you'll be able to see what server I'm on next stream, or whatever. It'll come together, but you'll get information by hook or by crook. Anyway, I did beta test Asheron's Call before playing City of Heroes. I didn't understand Asheron's Call at all. I largely just played it like I would an open world game. I just free roamed all over the place. But let's see. Let's see if there's anyone on I care to drop you guys into. You know, we could actually. I could send you guys over to the world of ZZT. That seems like a good time. Yeah, alright. I'm going to drop you guys over at the world of ZZT, and I am going to bail and get some more water, and just... Invalid username World of ZZT, because it's Worlds of ZZT. I can't raid World of ZZT. It's Worlds of ZZT. Bloody typos. Okay. So yeah, I'm going to drop you guys off there, and then we are going to end for the night. Good night, everybody. Never be Gabriel Knight. That is my one piece of advice to you. Don't be Gabriel Knight. When I want to raid a world, but there's more than one, I know multiverse theory has really screwed everything up. Good night, everybody.